Welcome back to Joe's Toolbox Exchange. Today I'm really excited for this video. It's kind of a special experience for us here, having all four EPIQ carts that they have made, and this is the one out of production, and these three are current production models. It's rare that we even have one of these boxes here, so to have all four is kind of special. Before we get into the boxes though, I do want to mention the giveaway. It ends on Sunday of this week, which is September 14th. Today is Tuesday. And we will announce the giveaway winner on Monday, we'll announce it on Monday. The giveaway ends on Sunday, which is the 14th. It's for a Bluetooth KMC1 speaker by Klipsch. They're $300 retail. And then to get into the boxes here. So this box here, I'll go through the model numbers first. This red one is going to be a KRSC101 if it has the third drawer. If it doesn't, it's a KRSC100. This box here is going to be a KEMW361. This box here is going to be a KEMW361. And then this one is going to be a KERN361. I would like to mention a few things here. We have done an in-depth review of this box with the hutch on it. For this video though, we're just talking about the bottom, as that's what I would consider the cart, and it's without the topper. This box is a flip top. It's a Bedlined stainless steel top, and this box here has the stainless in it, and we will talk about the stainless because this cart comes with the stainless on it. I cannot find a separate model number for it on their website to purchase it without the stainless. And then this box is no longer in production, so some of the data here is a little bit hard to find, like the list price. This box, as we're talking about list price, I do not know what it was, as this box has been out of production for over 10 years. The list price on this one is $5,125. The list price on this one is going to be $6,995, and then this one being the most expensive at $8,035 without the top. I will also say that the drawers on them are probably the biggest difference. This one having a 2 or 3 drawer variation. This one is going to be a 5 drawer, this one is going to be a 6 drawer, and this one is going to be in a 7 drawer. So they're in order from both least expensive to most expensive, and then also least drawers, the most drawers. So as the price goes up, you also have more drawers. I would consider all four of these boxes carts. On the end, we have a KRSC430, just so you can see it for scale. We're not really going to go into that box in depth. It's just to see what a standard cart looks like in comparison to these. But this box, they consider a roll cart. This one they consider a mobile work center. This one they consider a roll cart, being the snap-on SideKIQ, and then this one being a roll cab. So they actually consider this a full-fledged box, even though dimensionally it's the same as what they call a roll cart. They perfectly line up. This is the height of all EPIQs that are in current production. For the 68, the 84, and the 60 are all going to be this exact height. So as you can see, they line up perfectly. This box here would line up with any of your full-size boxes. If you have a topper on it, they would line up just right. So if you wanted to set it off to the side and maybe have it line up with your boxes and then you could move it away, it does work really good for that. A lot of people complain about the height on the EPIQ being rather hard to work on because of the height. I'm 5'9", and I agree, which is why they came out with the mobile work center. It's just a little bit more of a comfortable height to work on, but it does not line up with the other EPIQs. I'm going to go over the cubic inches and square inches, all three of them. So if you want to show this red one here, it is going to be 7,900 cubic inches and 2,300 square inches. This gray and storm gray and purple one is going to be 18,100 cubic inches and 4,100 square inches. This tan one here is going to be 26,000 cubic inches and 6,000 square inches. And then this orange one here is going to be 23,000 cubic inches and 5,900 square inches. These numbers are rounded. I've rounded them to the nearest 100. When you're getting down to cubic inches, those last 23 don't really matter in my opinion. Now the slide weight rating on them all is going to be the same, as they are all EPIQs. They are 227 pounds per set of slides. At the end of this video, we will discuss in more detail the overall drawer depths and dimensions of every single box. We'll leave that at the end though, so if you want to skip that part, I understand. That's probably only pertinent if you're actually shopping for one of these and trying to figure out if your tools will fit, so we're not going to mention that in this part of the video. The weight rating, or the total weight rather of the box, the net weight of the box, is going to be 320 pounds for the KRSC 101 or 100, and then the When you have the extras drawer, it's a 101, and the weight on that box is 370. This box right here, the net weight is going to be 450. This box is going to be 500 pounds, and then this box is going to be 350 pounds. This is what they say on the Snap-on website. I'm not exactly sure if that is correct, because that seems, I think this box is probably over 400, but we'll take the hutch off and throw it on a scale probably before it sells. While we're talking about them selling, that red one has already sold and this orange one has already sold, and these two came in last night, so they are still available. And down below I'll post a link to our link tree where you can find our marketplace where we list all of our boxes, along with our eBay store where we sell all of our tools. And if you guys want to buy something direct, there's an email and a phone number there. You can just reach out to me directly. The capacity on the boxes we're going to talk about here is the one on the end is going to be 2,000. This gray one is going to be 2,000. This desert or combat tan is going to be 2,000, and then this one is going to be 8,000. I'm not exactly sure why it's such a drastic difference, as these boxes are made of the same steel gauge. They have the same undercarriage and the same exact wheel. So I'm not sure why this one is rated at 8,000, but that is how much they say all of their EPIQ full boxes are. So the 84s, 8,000, 68s, 8,000, 60s, 8,000, the 36, 8,000. I don't know why this one is only 2. I would say that's probably an oversight on the data sheets. It's probably 8,000 also, or at the very minimum, it's probably 6,000, as it's basically the same box. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the dimensions. That's probably the biggest variation across these three. I think we'll just mention like height, 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 width, 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 and go down that way. So the depth on this box is 26, and then the depth on all the others is 30. The depths on every EPIQ produced today is 30. They make no variations of this. This being an earlier version, it was 26. Even though the EPIQs back then were 30, the cart itself was 26, which is very strange. It's the only EPIQ they ever made that was not 30 inches deep. The height of them is going to be 43 inches tall, 42 inches tall with the stainless, 49 inches including the lid, and 47 inches without a topper. So this one is the exact same. The width of them is going to be 38 inches from edge to edge, not including the little bit extra from the bumpers. This one is going to be 37 from edge to edge. This one is going to be 37 from edge to edge, and then this one is going to be 36. The reason that this one is 37 is because it has a slight overhang, and it is actually including this. So if you look at the true dimensions of the box itself, it is actually 36 on the dot, and then this one is 36 on the dot, but you do have a lip of about a ½ inch on each side, which is why the overall box is 1 inch more wide. That is kind of all the specs I wanted to mention here in this video, but I would like to go over the boxes in a bit more detail for some of the overall functionality of the boxes. They all are going to have this lift latch system all the way back on the early first EPIQs that ever came out. That's kind of what defined the EPIQs, is this latch system. They're the same across all of the boxes. They all are going to have the same handle. Besides, this box does not have a handle. It is different. It's actually a tubular handle. It's like a 2-inch diameter. It's a huge handle. And then these are the same on all EPIQs. The carts are the same on the full-size EPIQs. They all have the same liner material in them, and they all have the same wheels. These boxes, all 4 wheels pivot. You can pull a pin and rotate them. We've seen that in some other videos, but this orange one does not. And I'm not sure if that's how they are from the factory, because usually EPIQs all rotate, but these are actually fixed wheels, which is a little bit strange because I've never seen fixed wheels on any other EPIQ. Besides a KERN, a KERN361, a KERN361, we sold, it had fixed wheels on one side, which is strange. Usually the EPIQs all pivot, and these all do pivot, including the small cart, which is great functionality if you're trying to get it in a tight place, especially if you have 2 people and 1 person on each end. You rotate all the wheels, you can really fit this through somewhere narrow, and that it can be a challenge because at 30 inches deep, these boxes are huge. If you want to come shoot it down from this angle, you'll see what I mean by, they get very big. This is a standard box here at 20 inches deep. So at 30 inches deep, you're 50% larger on the depth. It is, yeah, if you want to shoot it straight down this way so they can see kind of what they line up. This box is 20, and then you're going to be at 26, and then you're going to be at 30, 30, 30. So these are large, definitely large boxes. The trim on all the Epics is the same. It's an aluminum. Besides, this box has a rubber trim of the same size, but these are all going to be aluminum on the edges. And they do not have back bumpers on these three. On that 3-drawer or 2-drawer, they do, but on the rest of them, there's no bumpers on the back, which is strange considering they consider them carts, and on pretty much all of their other carts, they have bumpers. I understand why they don't have it on the 36 roll cab, but on these, I wish they did have a little more bumpers to protect them, especially with how large they are. You probably are going to bump them into things. They are just massive. They do have little nicks on the edges just from that exactly happening. If you're rolling this around, 30 inches deep is a pretty large box to fit through a tight space. The flip top is pretty cool. I've complained about this in other videos. The Bedlined, so we'll look at this KRSC430. It has a steel top. This is steel. And that is a little bit annoying because when this starts to peel, you'll get rust on that steel and then it'll peel fast. Where their stainless tops are slightly magnetic. Snap-on stainless is magnetic, it's just not. This one has zero magnetism. This one is probably pulling through the lid, but like in their hutches, it's stainless. On their toppers, it's usually not. But on this one, as you can see, it's a slight stainless, and this is not because, or slightly magnetic, it's not because it's not stainless. They just have a, as you can see in here, their walls are a magnetic stainless steel. And that is a pretty cool feature because if this top begins to peel, it's stainless all the way around it. So you can actually just peel it off if it started to get to that point, polish it down, and you would have a top that looked exactly like this. And I like the design a lot more, especially if you get a chip. It's going to prevent the spreading of the bubbling because you're not going to get that rust in there. And this top is super heavy. It's a double wall stainless. This is way, way stronger than what you're going to find on a, I don't even have an example in here, of a standard flip top from Snap-on. It's just a thin steel. This is a very, very heavy lid. And the locking mechanism on this box is really cool. All around, the SideKIQs are really cool. Out of all these boxes, this is the one that has the most unique features in a modern day Epic. Their locking mechanism is like nothing else that I've seen. I think the key is for it here. On all the other boxes, the carts, they have a lever that flips up, or they have 2 pins that slide up. But this one actually, if you want to show it from the inside, it is this huge plate in here. And sometimes the complexity adds problems, but I don't really see it in these boxes. But these actually slide out and engage with this. So you're getting a lot more locking power than just a single little lever that's flipping up or 2 little pins. These actually slide over and engage inside of here, so there's no way someone's going to pry this open. Well, I said that, and now. I don't know. Maybe I should have it shut all the way. And then they have a full roll on the edges, which is nice. On the early stainless tops that they had on boxes, there were only a lip on the front, so stuff would roll off the back and sides, but it has a slight lip around all four sides now, so things won't roll off. It's the same as this box, and it's the same as the cart there. I do like this design quite a bit. And if you want to show in here, this is also something else that is unique. I don't have another example to show of what the other models are, but they actually put these little like grommets in here, which actually go through the liner, which helps hold the liner in place. And also you get a lot of wear around these holes from dropping screwdrivers or pry bars in here all day. And this just protects that. This is a great feature. I wish they were like that on all carts across all brands. They should do that. That's a cheap addition, and it would really protect the box for, I mean, what does that cost? 20 cents total across those pieces. I don't know why they haven't adapted that model into all of their boxes. I do like seeing it there though. It's the only box I have seen it in. This box also has the option to add power, and it's the only one of these that has the option to add power. They make boxes like this where you have a power drawer in it, and I believe it comes in that one also, where it'll combine a couple of these drawers down and you'll have a large power drawer, but you sacrifice a lot of space. So if you want to have power in your box, this is nice. You could put a couple of chargers in here, a couple of Milwaukee, run all of your stuff off of it, and it would take up a small amount of space, and you're not sacrificing 2 or 3 drawers to get that power drawer. On this box, you can put it on the inside, and then, like I said, they also have a huge power drawer here. It's just a big sacrifice of space for a cart, especially if you're considering these carts. You're probably not running like, I don't know, 7 or 8 batteries in it. You probably have a charger or 2 chargers in there. You guys are standardized on Milwaukee for the most part. So there's really not a reason to have that big of a power drawer in my opinion. It's just nice to open. This thing is really tall. That is one complaint I have, is I'm not the tallest. If you were taller, you probably could shut it, but unless I can get around the side of it, I can't reach it. I've been pulling it by the struts, which is fine, but it's just so tall. I mean, a standard cart when it's flipped up is like this. I'll get that dimension too, because this thing is definitely not going under a lift. So if you were moving this box around and you're under a lift, there's zero shot that this box would work for you. And you are from the floor to the top lip, you're at 77 inches, which is massive. It is magnetic though, so you could put a lot of different, assortment of holders in here. Magnetic holders hold pry bars, screwdrivers, things like that. Although you do have adequate storage for those things in the side. I think if you're probably looking at a cart for the price, this is almost a no-brainer. I think at $7,000, it has the cubic storage of like a double classic, and it's less money. So it's a huge box. And also you do get that flip top, you do get the stainless, you do get a bedlined. You have I believe they come with power. And if not, it's like a $200 edition, or you could put it's got a knockout in the back, so you could put any power in there. None of these boxes, actually I lied. This one I think has a speed drawer, the rest do not, although you can get a speed drawer in this one. I do not think you can get in this one. Traditionally, the speed drawers are in skinny drawers, although sometimes they're in bigger drawers on certain carts, but this one is all big drawers. You get really no variation of drawer sizes on a box like this. Like I said, at the end, we'll hit all those dimensions. But this box here, you get three skinnies, then you get 3 mids, and then you get 1 deep. On this one, it's considered a roll cab, so they basically gave you a socket drawer on top, a deep drawer for all of your sockets. Then you have a speed drawer, and then you have another skinny drawer, and then you have 3 mids, and then you have a deep. So this one definitely has the most variation with the most drawers. And this one, I mean, if you're storing like screwdrivers, it's really a waste of space for a drawer like this to be holding screwdrivers, but that's kind of your only choice. I think this box is really intended to not be your primary box. This is intended to be a secondary box that you work off of, and you probably have a full-size box somewhere across the shop where your chargers are and the majority of your tools are. This box also has the same issue. It's only got 2 drawers. This would probably not work for you if you're looking for something that is going to be a standalone box. The bottom drawer does not lock. It's meant to hold like parts, like let's say you're rebuilding a transmission or something on the top. This is meant to hold components and parts, put little parts trays in there, and as you take it apart, you can put the pieces in there. And these 2 are for tooling, so you really do not have that much storage in there. Along with at the bottom, you can throw, large components to store them on the bottom with a really heavy steel plate. So that's kind of a cool addition to this box. But like I said, these 2 are more of an addition, where I would say these 2 could easily be standalone boxes, If you're between this and like a double classic, I would go with this probably in a heartbeat. The resale on these is a much better percentage of list price versus a classic. The classic is a very low percent of list price on the resale market. These hold their value a little bit better. Not great. I mean, all Snap-on does fall off pretty fast the second it leaves the truck, but the cards seem to hold their value the best, and these are definitely sought after. We do not get them very often, and they posted last night. I think I listed them, and they'll probably be gone by today. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but I've already had a lot of messages on them. The locking mechanism on these 3 boxes is really cool. If you're ever looking at a box, you can tell if it's a swivel caster if it has a lock on it. That's across all the Snap-on boxes. So like on that KRSC430, there's no lock on the bottom left. That is a fixed wheel non-pivot, where both of these have locks, so you can tell they're pivots. You can tell these are pivots. You can tell these are pivots, and you can tell this one is not. The pivots are nice on the EPIQ boxes because they are lockable from both sides. So whether you are pushing or pulling the box, you have a pedal on both sides to hit. Where with like this model here, the lock mechanism is only on one side, so that's a little bit annoying. You can only lock it if you're pushing or pulling on one side. So, right now this wheel is accessible, but on the other side it's not. So it's really hard to lock all 4 casters. It's really hard. Where a box like this, it's very simple to lock all 4. I like that design. I wish they did it on their Masters. Their Masters have the same pedal, but it's only on one side because only one end pivots on all Master boxes. You could add a hutch to this in theory, although it would be very low. This hutch right here would work on this box. You would just have a very low hutch. That could be an option. They also make top boxes, which are going to look like just like this, but it's going to be another bank of drawers, and that would work on this box and that box also. I've never seen that variation. I'm sure one of you guys probably have it at this point, but you could put a, another bank of drawers on top of this, and it probably would be a really cool setup because this box isn't that high. A lot of times when you add that second bank of drawers to a taller box, it's so high it's hard to use most of the drawers comfortably, but on a box like this with the second bank of drawers, it would probably come about here, which would still be the top 4 inches of the drawer is going to be like, box is going to be like this. You're not going to be able to use it anyway, but your top drawer is going to be here. So if you're of average height, you could probably see into all the drawers. I think that would be something that'd be cool to see. I've seen the top banks on top of those quite often, and I've actually bought quite a few of them because people will they'll buy them, and then when they install them, they realize they're way too tall to work on. So what they'll end up doing is just selling them, and they work okay. If you don't put them on top of a box, you can put those like on a workbench or something with a lower height, and they do work well. Or a lot of guys will just set them on the ground directly with a couple 2x4s, and that works also. But that is something I keep in mind. When you see the extra bank of drawers on top of the Epics, unless you're 6'6", you're really not going to be able to use those top drawers very easily. Overall, I'm pretty excited to have these four. It's unique. It's unique to see 4 Epic carts in the same room, especially this one on the end. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over. The locks are the exact same across them. They're across the same on all Snap-on boxes that have been made in the past 20 years. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit the drawer dimensions. So this is where you guys cut out. I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, thank you. So on the first box here, you're going to have the same depth and width, 30 inches by 23.5 is going to be for both the top 2 drawers, and you're going to have a 3.5 inch drawer, and then you're going to have a 5 7/8 drawer. The bottom one is a bit different because it's actually deeper because it doesn't have a locking mechanism in the back. It is going to be 25 inches deep by 30 inches wide, and it is going to be about 6 inches deep, but you'd have a little extra space here if stuff overhang, it'd be fine. This box, they're all going to be the same across the width, which is a 30 inches by 27 inches, and that is going to be the same for this one. So this one's 30, 27, 30, 27, so we're just going to look at the drawer depths now. The drawer depths of this box is going to be about 3 3/4. That's the same for this one, this one, this one, and this one, and your bottom one is going to be 6 inches. This one's also going to be 6 inches, and then these are going to be that same 3 3/4, and then your top ones are going to be Snap-on skinny drawers, which are about 1 3/4, and that's the same for the classics, and so that one's going to be 1 3/4. Your speed drawer and your drawer below that are going to be 1 3/4. Your top drawer is extremely deep. It'd be great for storing sockets. You're at 6 inches. Below that is going to be 4 inches. Well, that's going to be their standard like 3 3/4, 3 7/8. That's going to be this drawer, this drawer, this drawer, and then your bottom one is the same as the other two at 6 inches. Something else I'll mention here is the slides. Any box on Snap-on that is capable of fitting another slide, they allow it, besides on some models like this one here, which is pretty strange. On all their classics, their masters and everything else, you can add a second set of slides. If you want to show it here, you'll be able to see it. That's what these grooves are for. So if you want to double slide it, you're at 227 pounds per set of slides. So you could get over 450 by adding a second set of slides, which is a ton of weight for a drawer that size. But on this box, it is not an option. Even on their big drawer, it's just is what it is. I like the double slot. I wish other brands did this. I wish Matco did it. I wish Mac did it. I wish Cornwell did it. It's a cool addition. You know, down the road, if you've kind of overgrown your box, especially with how you guys are going with like Toolbox widget and other storage systems like this, you guys are packing an insane amount of tools in a really small space, really optimizing your square inches on your box to try to fit more stuff in there. And you're starting to hit some of those weight ratings. You know, traditionally this was never a problem because everything was so spread out. It wasn't really that optimized. So you were never hitting these higher numbers of the 200+ pound drawers. But now when you're talking about the sockets inside of a drawer, just butt to butt, the entire drawer is butt to butt. You know, some like Diesel Techs will have an entire drawer for 1/2 inch sockets and 3/4 inch sockets, and then they'll have their 1/2 inch and quarter somewhere else, or a quarter. They'll have like 1/4 and 3/8 in one, and 1/2 and 3/4 in another, and 1 inch sometimes in there. Some of those sockets weigh a couple of pounds a piece, and they'll just have them boom, 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 the entire thing. So you do hit that weight rating pretty quick, which is why I like that they do that option. From the factory though, most drawers do not ship double slid, besides the bottom one on that one, and the bottom ones on these two, and the top one on this one are going to be double slid. The rest of them are all going to be from the factory single slid, but you do have, you know, a lot of weight that can be handled in these drawers. This one, because it's considered a socket drawer, they should have done it on this one. That one really should be double slid in my opinion. It'd be better to have the double slides on the top than the bottom, but it's easy to change. These drawers are all modular, so if you buy this box and you decide you want, you know, to have a tiny drawer on top, you can put it on the top, and you can change this configuration around to any way that you want it. You can buy additional deep drawers and get rid of the skinnies if you want. You can build them out that way new if you want, and used you can a lot of times swap around with other mechanics. A lot of mechanics, we trade drawers a lot. They'll want a big drawer, they'll want 2 skinny drawers, and we'll usually make those trades if the money makes sense. But on a box like this, you have such a variation. I would say there's really not much changing that needs to go into here. But for instance, with this box here, if you wanted to, you could pull this drawer and you could put it over here, and you could take these 2 skinnies and put it over there. And that is something I really want to say is cool, because most likely you're buying this box in addition to a larger box. So if you already have an 84, you're already going to have a lot of these drawers. So you can a lot of times play around with swapping drawers around, because you might have some that are already going to fit the dimensions that would work here. And that is a good feature that Snap-on offers. The plastic clips on these, as you can see, this one here, I'm not a huge fan of. They do break quite often. This one will get warrantied out. I just haven't rebuilt it. I already have the piece here. I just haven't swapped it. It's not complicated. I guess we'll do that at the end of this video too, so you can see what that looks like. You guys can see what that whole mechanism looks like. It's not very complicated, but it is actually a little piece of metal that is coated in plastic. I wish it was just like maybe all aluminum, would probably be a better design. It is what it is. They break quite often. I would say most Epics we get in have one of those broken, but the part is extremely cheap, so even if your dealer won't warranty it because you bought a used box and your dealer sucks, you can go ahead and just order just pay for the part. It's like a couple of dollars. I will show how to swap that out because it is so simple. It's just a Torx bit. I think I have a service kit for those here. Yep. They're going to be different on the right and left side. It's not like the latches where they're always the same. It's going to be different depending on what side you're on. If you want to come show this, they always sell them in sets. You can't get one, so if you break one side, you're going to have to buy 2. But like I said, this setup is pretty cheap. And we are working on the right side of the box, so it's not this one, it's the other one, and it's all built in here. So this is your mechanism. It's pretty beefy, but you can even see the plastic here. This is just from the molding, it's not cracking. But inside of there is a piece of metal. So it's 2 blow molded pieces that are pushed together. I think it could be a slightly better design for how much money you spend on these things. But it's small complaints. I've never seen a box I don't have complaints with. I think that's just the nature of it. Especially when you talk about a box that is, you know, $5,000 plus. It gets a little bit easier to complain about these small things because the price is so high. You know, you're talking about like a US General, of course there's problems with it, but it's also cheap, so who cares? But I think Snap-on should have spent the extra $1.50 per box and done something different here. So you just take this little screw out. There's going to be a Torx. It is a T15. And these screws are long. There's going to be a little spring if you want to show in here before we take that one off. The spring latches onto this end. And there's a pin that slides in the top. So there's your spring. That's what's giving you that retention. So when you get a new one, you just take that spring. You see this groove cut into it. It's very similar to how the slide latches work on the Masters and Classic series, where it engages down there. It's very similar. So this slides in there. This slides in the top of it. And like I said, we've replaced quite a few of these. I think the last time I bought these parts, I think I bought a set of 20 of them because we go through them so fast. A lot of you guys have dealers that keep these on the truck. So when you break one, they'll just give you one right off the truck. You don't have to wait for it. They still work, but see, this is the piece. This is that metal piece in there. It still kind of works. It just loses quite a bit of that material there, so it doesn't latch very well. But it's not hard to fix, and the parts are cheap, so I can't complain that much. But you don't see that problem on the Masters. Those slides break very rarely, and these break very commonly. It's because of the, I mean, it is plastic, so when you expose it to temperature shifts, different humidities and things, especially like here in Indiana, we have extremely hot days and we have extremely cold days, and a lot of shops don't maintain their temperatures very well. You guys might be rolling these outside. Those temperature fluctuations constantly on that plastic, along with that slamming force, I mean, you do that all day long, eventually they will give out. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, the giveaway ends on the 14th. We'll announce the winner on the 15th. Pin top comment below will be to enter that. The link tree will be down below if you want to view any of these stuff. Even if you don't want to buy one, there's still great detailed photos of there, and I never delete those photos. So if you want to go back and you want to search for this box, you can just type in, like, you know, Snap-on Epic SideKIQ, and you'll see photos from every single side of the box, what the inside looks. So maybe if you're shopping for one used and they don't have great photos of it, you could pull that data from there to at least see, you know, what does it actually look like. If you want to show the bottom of it here, I guess too, it's the only thing we didn't really show. The bottom is extremely heavy. So you see that support there, and then there is your support there. And I guess there's your support on that end, and then there's your support on that end. And the orange one is going to be the exact same. You got your support on that end, and then your support on this end. A lot of times on the, I think on the full size Epics, they have a third beam in them. On the smaller boxes, they do not. That beam is really just there to stop bowing. As the box, when you start to talk about dimensionally getting really big, you have an 84-inch box with a ton of weight loaded in it, mostly in the center. It's going to want to bow, so they put those huge beams in the center. It's not really necessary on these carts because, I mean, even if you put all the weight here, it's only, you know, 9 inches from a caster, so it's not like you're going to have much flex, which is why they do not have those center beams there. On the drawers themselves also, you'll see on the larger boxes, they have a, yeah, if you want to come show this, they have these beams underneath them to support the weight. Once again, it's because if you have all of your weight here, that's a long way from a set of slides, so you're going to get bowing in the drawer. And this way you can, I mean, you can put all your weight rating right in the center, and you're not going to get that much flex in the drawer. On these boxes, though, they are just flush on the bottom. It gives you a little bit more cubic inches in the box because you don't have to have, I guess you might be able to show this. You don't have to have all that extra material on the bottom. It also lowers the weight rating, so it's easier, or the net weight of the box, so it's easier to move it. And you're really not necessary here because even if you put all of your weight right here in the center, I mean, you're still so close to one of the slides, you're not going to get the bowing, which is why they don't put it there. And that's the same across all boxes. All right, now I think I'm done. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about here. I gotta be careful or I'll talk about these things all day. We have other stuff to do. So I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, thank you.